This morning, either in person or online. And I invite you to take the joy from that song into our hearts and into prayer. And I invite you to just take a moment to close your outer eyes if that's comfortable for you, bringing your attention inward. As we take a gentle, deep breath, we come into that place of the heart where we are so grateful for all the ways that we are blessed. And we know that this gratitude lifts us up into higher vibrations and greater expressions of our true spiritual self. And so today we celebrate that practice of thankfulness and gratitude that bless us so richly. And we give thanks for it in Christ's name. Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity. My name is Linda Sletton, and we recognize each of you as a wise, loving, powerful, spiritual being. Thank you for sharing your radiant light with us this morning. We are pleased that you have chosen to be with us today, either online or in person. If this is your first time being with us in person, please pick up a welcome packet in the foyer before you leave. Please join me as we declare together our opening affirmation, which is in the bulletin and on the screen. Together, there is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good omnipotence. Today we are honored to have Barbara Munns, who's going to share just a bit on her experience and her feelings about Unity, North Tampa.
Good morning. Years ago, a little tiny book came into my life. It was Myrtle Fillmore's book about her healing herself by sending love and light to her lungs. My family has a bunch of nurses and a couple of doctors, and we have always had discussions on the mind-body connection. So I was quite interested in her story. And after reading it, I thought, this has got to be something. But it's what led me to Unity West Palm Beach for my first Unity experience. But I listened, And I started incorporating some of these principles into my life. And even though I lost the book, I kept the principles, and Myrtle was right there. Remember this, remember this. So I've had some challenges in my life, physical and otherwise, but the principles kept me, supported me through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm here today, healthy, mentally, I hope, and of course physically, but I did have a couple of really big physical challenges. I have survived a rattlesnake bite without the anti-venom. I have survived a dust-up with cancer. I am healthy both ways, and I'm here to say that these principles work. I have attended, oh, by the way, I lost the book. The last year, Reverend Virginia found a copy of it in a box of books that had been donated to the center, which I have my little copy back, for which I'm eternally grateful. I have attended several Unity centers and have had a whole lot of Unity teachers. I love and appreciate each one of them. I came here in 2012, and I came from the Unity Church at Pompano Beach. I was looking for a Unity church, and the closest one I could find to me was at Florida Avenue. And when I drove by there, oh my God. It's a storefront church. And I had had a bad experience in one of the churches that I had attended, and I'm going, there is no way I am going to go to a storefront. That's all there is to it. So I had prayed, send me a church. And in meditation, it kept going back, go. And then it was, go now. You always shoot the messenger, quit and go. Okay, I'll go once. And that was the end of it. So, like I said, I love and appreciate all my Unity teachers, and I love and appreciate you.
Thank you, Barb. We are so glad that you did go. You're a delight and always add a lot of fun to everything. Let me see. Okay, we are now going to read the Daily Word, and the Daily Word has daily devotions that inspire people around the world. As we affirm today's message, we become global prayer partners with others, sharing the same positive intentions for the good of all. We ask that you center within now and listen deeply as we share today's message. Jim Van Koolbergen will share the Daily Word in English, and Miriam Anderson will share the message in Spanish.
Good morning. Good morning. Thankfulness is my heart's natural expression. I need no special reason to be thankful, no list of blessings to inspire gratitude. Unity author Reverend Eric Butterworth wrote, "One can be grateful with the same spontaneity as being happy. It simply flows forth from within and becomes a causative energy. With a thankful mind and heart, I release worry and frustration, trusting that my every need will be met. I discover more of God's presence in myself and others everywhere I go. I see possibilities for good, even in challenging circumstances. Eager to share my thankfulness, I welcome opportunities to be of service to others, just as I gratefully accept blessings shared with me. I live in the flow of life, love, peace, and abundant beauty. I am thankful." from Scripture. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, 5:18.
Buenos días. Domingo 25 de abril del 2021, gratitud. La gratitud es la expresión natural de mi corazón. No necesito una razón especial ni una lista de bendiciones para sentir gratitud. El escritor de Divinity, Eric Warworth, escribió: se puede estar agradecido con la misma espontaneidad con la que se está feliz. Simplemente fluye desde adentro y se convierte en energía causativa. Con un corazón y mente agradecidos, dejo ir la preocupación, confiando en que todas mis necesidades serán satisfechas. Aprecio la presencia de Dios en mí mismo y en los demás. A donde quiera que voy, veo posibilidades para el bien, hasta en las circunstancias más desafiantes. Deseoso de compartir, les doy la bienvenida a las oportunidades de ayudar a los demás y de recibir ayuda. En mí fluyen la vida, el amor, la paz, la abundancia y la belleza. Gracias, Dios. Den gracias a Dios en todo, porque esta es su voluntad para ustedes en Cristo Jesús. Tesalonicenses 5:18. Gracias.
Let's listen to You Are the Face of God in preparation for meditation. We remind you not to sing along as a COVID precaution. Please hum the melody if you'd like to.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart.
So I invite you to join me now in this time of meditation. And we begin by finding that comfortable position in the chair, relaxing and allowing the chair to support the weight of your body. We also invite you to close your outer eyes if that's comfortable for you, bringing your attention inward. And just notice how you feel. Notice if there's any tension in the body. And just breathe into those areas if there are any. Sending your body love and appreciation. Letting your shoulders relax as we set aside any concerns. As we let go of worry, we make space for peace within us. as we let go of the busyness in the morning, the busyness of getting here, we also began to let go of the busyness of the mind. Just notice and relax your shoulders, relax your facial muscles, and any other tension perhaps in the torso or hips, legs, arms, hands and feet. Just allow a feeling of peace and relaxation to flow over you, in you and through you. For this is a time of Holy Communion, of consciously connecting with the divine within us. We relax even more deeply with slow, conscious, deep breathing. Beginning with a full exhale, we exhale completely, contracting the belly muscles, exhaling fully, gently, and then breathing in deeply into the abdomen, letting the belly expand as you breathe in, filling the whole torso with air, and then again releasing fully with a full, gentle exhale. Again, we breathe in deeply, welcoming the breath, expanding with the breath. And again, we exhale, and this time with a little bit of a sigh. One more time, we breathe deeply and fully, opening to breath, opening to divinity. And this time with a more audible sigh as we exhale. Now allow the breath to find a natural rhythm. As we bring our attention into our hearts. And you may want to put one or both hands over your heart. Being aware of this center of divine love, the energy and essence of divine love within your energy field, not just within your body. And our electromagnetic field of the heart extends way past the physical body, radiating whatever energy we are holding. And so by centering in our heart, we open to the remembering and the realization of the truth of how fully loved we are, how abundantly blessed we are, knowing that the universe is conspiring for our good. For we are here to be the inlet and the outlet of divine essence, the allness spirit, by whatever name we call it. It is already within us and always has been and always will be. As we awaken to that joyous knowing, we extend our love and gratitude to others, and also give thanks for who we are as an expression of the divine, a wave in the ocean of allness, of the infinite presence. And as we center ourselves in gratitude and love, we call to mind a few of the things that we are grateful for, that we want to give thanks for in this moment, recognizing the value of it, allowing that energy of gratitude and love to fill all of our being, mind, body, and spirit. You may want to start with a few small things, or perhaps there is a very great thing that is present for you now. Whether it is blessings great or small, they all contribute to lifting us up into a higher vibration of love. En el silencio recordamos las bendiciones de nuestra vida. Pensamos en las bendiciones y damos gracias por eso. Aceptamos el amor divino dentro de nosotros y expresamos en nuestra vida. As we call to mind those things for which we are grateful, we feel that energy of love and gratitude expanding within us. And we open our hearts to receiving and giving love, and to continually giving thanks, knowing that it is a creative energy in our lives that blesses us in every way. So let us call to mind in silence at least one great and one small blessing in your life, in the silence. Y respiramos profundamente y damos la cuenta a nosotros y nuestros sentimientos en este momento. And so we become aware of how we are feeling in this moment after expressing thanks and gratitude. Notice if you feel a shift. And if you didn't, continue to practice thankfulness and giving thanks and gratitude as your heart will open to the joy that is there. Knowing you are loved and blessed in every moment, no matter the circumstances of life. And we are grateful for all of us awakening to a new realization and acceptance of ourselves as spiritual beings, here to be the love and the peace that is needed in this moment, for ourselves and for all. We are here to be the inlet and the outlet of the divine, for we are made in that likeness and here on purpose. And so it is. And I invite you now to take a few moments to think of those that you would like to include in prayer as these names come to you, as these loved ones come to you, to your mind. See not their challenges or difficulties or struggles, but see their strength and their wholeness. Bless them with your faith in them as a powerful, creative, spiritual being, completely whole, peaceful, joyful, and abundant. See them radiant with the vibration of the divine. Give thanks for their peace and joy. And so now let us take a moment to do this. I invite you to call to mind those with whom you would like to bless with the thought of their truth, seeing them perfect and whole, in the silence. Take another deep breath and give thanks as we are becoming more and more aware that each one of us is that perfect expression, and that in this human experience our wholeness is never diminished, nor is our peace or our ability to be loving, for that is who we are. And we celebrate that truth with all of these whose names we have spoken or out loud or silently. And we continue to see them as the radiant beings they are in their perfect expression of the divine. And we hold our world in that same view, seeing it enfolded in light and love, see it whole and vibrant, see harmony, abundance and well-being for all people everywhere and for the planet itself. And so it is. So now I invite you to join with me in affirming as Jesus taught us to pray our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have also forgiven our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. My family, you are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love.
Well, today I want to really unpack today's daily word. And I say that because there is so much in today's message about thankfulness. And if you've been a student of Unity for very long, if you've read any of Eric Butterworth, you know a lot of his quotes and his teachings. And we celebrate the fact that he expresses such deep wisdom in such common ways that we can understand it, and very creative ways. I really like Eric Butterworth's writing so much because of that. And I also believe that not only has he been able to take the Fillmore teachings and put them into a language that we can really relate to, if you're not a fan of reading Fillmore, which I could talk about that for a while. I have broken the Fillmore code, by the way, and you can talk to me about that if you want to later. But Eric Butterworth takes Fillmore to another level as well. Not only does he deeply understand it enough to explain it simply, but he takes it to another level. And he also, as we do in Unity, make up words to express what he's trying to get across. So we have a lot of fun and creativity in Unity with our verbal expressions and our written word. So today's daily word, can I have the first slide, please, Lynn? It begins with, thankfulness is my heart's natural expression. I need no reason to be thankful. No list of blessings to inspire my gratitude. And maybe you've had that experience of causeless joy. I know a lot of us find that in nature or in prayer or meditation. And so there's times when there's no real reason to feel grateful that we can intellectually identify. But what we're relating to is that heart knowing that how much we are loved and blessed, even if we're not thinking about it in that moment. And so, Unity author Eric Butterworth wrote, one can be grateful with the same spontaneity as being happy. And then this, thankfulness simply flows forth from within and becomes a causative energy. Now, when I first started reading Eric Butterworth about gratitude, and he said that gratitude is a causative energy. You know how you hear something and it just resonates with you? That's what happened to me. It just opened my eyes. This is not about being polite. This is not saying the right words. Gratitude, thankfulness and gratitude actually shift our consciousness. And they are causative because they raise our vibration to a higher level. And when we are in that higher level, we are able to manifest consciously. We're all manifesting all the time. Just take a look at your life. Whatever's showing up is what we have created. Ouch. So, but we can look at that and say, how creative I am. Look at the mess that I've made. And guess what? I can change it. If I don't like what I've unconsciously created, I can start to create consciously. And one of the ways we do that is gratitude. Giving gratitude for blessings already received, because whatever we're grateful for will continue to increase. So if we give gratitude for our health, for our finances, for our relationships, for our peace of mind, for our joy, whatever it is, clear guidance, as in Barbara's case, whatever that is, as we give thanks for it, it will increase in our lives because we're opening up and saying to the universe, give me more of that. Yeah, I want more of that. That's what gratitude does. It sets the wheels in motion. It opens the way for us to receive blessings of that particular kind. It is a causative energy. And it is a causative energy that will lift us out of the depths of despair as well. And I'll come back to that. Maybe you've had those moments like I have that sometimes after practicing gratitude now for years, and working with it daily, that there are times when I just feel grateful. Nothing particular may be happening in that moment, but just in a sense, a time of quiet or in the middle of a joyful thing, I'll just feel this overflowing gratitude. It's like some people describe, some spiritual teachers, causeless joy. It's not necessarily a reaction to anything that's happened, and certainly not someone doing a kindness for you or giving a gift to you, but although that's lovely. But it's just gratitude for beingness. Gratitude for knowing who you are as a spiritual being. Knowing that you are not a victim in life. There's so many gifts to gratitude. And one of the greatest uses of gratitude is in prayer. to give thanks in advance for something. And those of you who've been in my prayer class know that I am persistently teaching praying from a consciousness of God rather to a God outside of us. And one of the ways we can do that is just express gratitude, but not direct it outwardly. Hold it inside. I am so grateful for this unexpected income that is flowing into my life. I am so grateful that my body is healing rapidly and completely in every moment, moving into full expression of strength and vitality. I am so grateful for the loving relationships in my life. I am so grateful for divine order in this challenging circumstance that I am going through. And I know that no matter how awful it looks, there is good in it for me. So as we use gratitude in advance and gratitude held within, rather than directing it to what we think is a God out there, which is not true. For there is the allness in which we live, and it lives in and as us. This is what Eric Butterworth is talking about, what Emily Cady talked about, what the Fillmores talked about, that we are the inlet and can be the outlet of all that is divine. We are meant to be a conduit for it. We are meant to be, as Eric Butterworth says, in the flow of divine life, bubbling up from within us and flowing out into the world, into every circumstance of our own life. So how do we get to that place? So the next slide, and the daily word says, I release worry and frustration, trusting that my every need is met. Well, there's two things there. First is the release. And this is the big deal, right? This is the most important part of our spiritual unfoldment, is letting go of what isn't true. Letting go of who we are not. Letting go of fear of the outer or the inner. Letting go of that worry, doubt, fear, frustration, all of the negative, lower vibration emotions that we feel that are a reflection of our inner consciousness. So we can tell where we are at any moment in time if we just notice how we feel. If you're not feeling comfortable, if you're not feeling at peace, if you're not feeling grateful, something's out of whack. We are somehow, as Eric Butterworth says, frustrating the flow of life within us. So much of the spiritual path is letting go. And so we do that in our prayer and meditation. Unity has this wonderful prayer practice of denials or cancellations. This fear is not my truth, I let it go. This poverty or lack that I am experiencing is not who I am meant to be or experience. This is not mine, I let it go, and I let go of any belief on any level of consciousness that is creating this state of being that is not my truth. I am here to be abundant in every way. So we do a denial, and then we do an affirmation. We cancel out what is not true. I let go of this worry. I let go of this anger. I let go of this guilt. I let go of this blame. I let go, I let go, I let go, I let go, because it is not who I am. And then you affirm what you do want. I give thanks for a peaceful state of mind. I give thanks for growing spiritual awareness. I give thanks for, and the list goes on, whether it is great or small, whatever the desire of our hearts is. And so the next part of this is trusting that my every need will be met. So one of my favorite affirmations is that I am always provided for. So I started using that affirmation decades ago, and I began to notice it showing up in my life. I am always provided for. Lack is not my truth. It is not what I should be experiencing, because there is more than enough of everything for everyone. And so I let go of any worry about that. And I have faith, not just trusting, but I know that my every need is met. Take a deep breath. The air, the breath is always there. And that is just the beginning of how we are supplied. We are supplied with our basic needs for food and water, for relationships, supportive relationships. Not everyone is supplied with shelter. And this is why we have a homeless outreach, that we work to help those people that are without homes at this moment. So our needs are being met as we recognize that. Our faith is increased and our gratitude is increased. And the more you say that, all of my needs are met. And then I add abundantly. All of my needs are abundantly met. So anytime that fear of not having enough of anything comes up, I immediately go to, I am so deeply grateful for the knowing that all my needs are always met abundantly. And it keeps showing up that way in my life. So we want to release that which is not true. We want to embrace what is true. And that builds our faith and our spiritual knowing. And so the next step in this daily word is, I discover more of the divine presence in myself and in others. So here's what happens when we clean house, when we let go of the lower vibration thoughts, then we open ourselves to peace within. And the more we become quiet and the more we have less worry, less fear, less anger, less blame, less guilt, and certainly less shame, the more we feel the divine presence. It is the process of letting go of what we are not to embrace and express what we are. And so I discover more of divine presence within me. I become more aware of it. This is when we begin to have those mystical experiences. When Barbara shared her guidance that she was hearing this message clearly, then we begin to hear, we begin to be more aware of our divine guidance that is always there. And we're not afraid to listen to it because we know it's for our good. So the more quiet we become as we let go of the negative lower vibrations, the more we feel this loving presence that is beyond an experience of words. So it's very hard to describe when we get to that place, other than it feels really good. And as David R. Hawkins said, it feels gentle. There's a gentleness. There's an exquisite peace. There is ultimate bliss that cannot be put into words. You just have to experience it. And so we discover that presence active within us, and then we begin to see it in others, because as we begin to understand this human experience, we know that everybody is struggling with their personality self, with their ego, struggling with the tribulations of this life, as Jesus said. And so we do have tribulations, but they are there to bless us. They are there so that we can find out how strong we are, how loving we are, how smart we are, because we are being challenged to come up higher, to express ourselves in a greater way, to claim who we are, and to live from that power. The one thing about unity that I've totally appreciated over these many years is this sense of empowerment, that we are not a victim of the world. And so we find that as we let go of what isn't our truth and claim what is our truth. And on the next slide, I'd like to show you some levels of consciousness. I apologize for the small type, but I wanted to get it all in one page here on one screen. David R. Hawkins is one of my favorite spiritual teachers, and he wrote a book called Power versus Force, in which he measures the vibrations from the lowest, which is shame, to the highest, which is enlightenment. And he has a calibration that he can test with muscle testing. He has actual numbers that go with this, and he measures these things. And it's a great book if you haven't read it, because also he talks about coming into enlightenment. And I recently watched a video of David talking about his own spiritual awakening. It was a very moving story. David was an atheist, and he found himself in a place of deep despair. And I know that probably everybody in this room, anybody that's been alive in a body, has had those moments of deep despair. Those moments we may call the dark night of the soul, when we have given up hope. We are taken over by fear and hopelessness. He was in that space. And in that time of deep, deep pain, this atheist cried out and said, "If there is a God, help me." Now, many people have described, many teachers and many people have described awakening moments for them. And sometimes it's something that comes on gently and is a subtle shift over time. Sometimes it is dramatic flash of the moment, awakening, and that's the kind he had, like Paul on the road to Damascus. He said that after he asked for that help, that he went blank. He went unconscious, basically. And in that moment, everything was happening to shift him out of his deep despair into the heights of ecstatic joy. And he said when he regained consciousness, he said everything had changed. He saw himself and the entire world and all of life very differently. He realized the allness. He realized the harmony of everything, that everything is working together for our good. And all of these petty little things that we struggle with have no meaning, because they are powerless when we awaken to our power. And so he just gave this flash of enormous understanding, and it changed his life forever. And so then he began to undertake this spiritual journey where he was learning to understand what had happened to him and why it had shifted. And he has shared his teachings with so many. And though he's not with us physically, many of his teachings are online, and I invite you to go there because it's wonderful, wonderful, enlightening knowledge for us to, awareness for us to benefit from. So in this list you see here, the bottom of the list down there is shame. That vibration is lower than 30. That's the bottom. That's the deep night of the soul. That we feel that there is something inherently wrong with us. And I've been there. And it's an awful place to be. And many of us carry that subconscious belief that somehow there is something wrong with us, because we see our lives going in what we would call a wrong manner. And so who do we blame? Ourselves. And so what we don't understand is the programming we've gone through. You know, we've taken in messages from people that we're not good enough and that we're not lovable and so forth. So this results sometimes in shame. And then guilt, although it's not a very positive state of being, but we also can acknowledge that it's a little bit better than shame. And then apathy is a little bit higher than that, whereas we're kind of in a neutral zone. And so we're beginning to shift higher. And then there's grief, where we feel this sadness, and we may not even be sure what we're sad about. But here's this sadness that we need to move through, because this is another step of coming up higher as we let go of all of the negative emotions. We first must feel them, acknowledge them, and then watch them be released. They will go away if we don't try to hold on to them. And then the next one is fear, which is one of the strongest emotions that we have in this human experience. And then there's a level of desire, not desire for spiritual gratification, but desire of the physical rewards of the world. You know, possessions and pride and other things. So pride is the one of those levels of consciousness there, as you see too. So the desire for earthly things motivates us to gain possessions and control and manipulation. So it's not the kind of positive desire for spiritual gifts. And then anger over whatever it is, because anger is that reaction we have because people are not trying to make our life perfect. How dare they? How dare you do something that I don't approve of? How dare you do something that messes up my peace here? You know, anger is blaming. So anger is not productive. That's my rationale for dealing with anger is not productive. And I always wind up making mistakes when I'm stuck in anger. So then there's pride, where we begin to feel this self-confidence, but it's based on the personality, not on the spirit. Courage is a turning point in our awakening, because here we begin to realize that we can be proactive in our lives. We don't just have to react to what's going on, but we can be causative. We can use our spiritual principles and to create a better reality for ourselves. And then there's neutrality, where we come to a place of neutralness where we are right in between. This is a transition time. And this is part of that we're going to be learning a bit more about too as we go into our class on transition, that we come to a place of neutrality in the process of transition. And it also is a transition here to spiritual awakening. And then willingness. And then in unity, I love that affirmation, I'm willing to be willing. And sometimes I may be willing to be willing to be willing to be willing. You just need a little bit of willingness to move us forward. Acceptance. This is acceptance that things are the way they are. But that doesn't have to affect how I'm experiencing my life. Accepting that I am a human being, I'm a spiritual being having this human experience, and all the other spiritual principles that we know of. And then reason, we try to figure it out, and this is again on an intellectual level, it's not bad, it's a step in the right direction. And then love. And so our highest four are love, joy, peace, and some might include in that gratitude. And then the enlightenment, where we have allowed the personality to dissolve. And David R. Hawkins, in his description of his awakening experience, he said that he came to that place of not having any will of his own, but that the will of the divine became his personal will. And so he was less reactive, he didn't feel like he had to change anything, he was just accepting what is, and living in that peace within of knowing his oneness with the all. And when we know that oneness, we know how much we are truly, truly loved. If you hear stories about people who've had that near-death experience, and they say the love, the feeling of love is just so intense that you just never experience such grand energy of love as we do in those moments of awakening, which is similar to that near-death experience where we leave the body and experience the spiritual realm, but then come back into the body. And so that enlightenment is this pure spiritual awareness of our oneness and who we are. And we're all working toward that. And it's not like it's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. It's we move in and out of it. And we can be in that pure state of awareness at any moment. We don't have to have a dramatic experience like Dr. Hawkins did. But it set him on his path to becoming a great spiritual teacher. But in any moment we choose love. In any moment we become still and feel that infinite peace within. We are in a little glimpse of enlightenment and what it is like. So Eric Butterworth and many other spiritual teachers, including Dr. Hawkins, are teaching what has been taught for many thousands of years, actually. And Eric Butterworth, in his book, In the Flow of Life, he quotes from a Greek philosopher from the 5th century BC. This is 500 years before the birth of Christ. He said, "All is in flux, nothing stays still." This awareness that life is constantly about change. And what we want to understand too is that we can be co-creative in what changes happen in our lives. We can have an acceptance of what is and watch the changes unfold, but not allow them to affect what's going on inside, where we consciously choose to let go of what is not true and embrace who we truly are. And so the next slide here is not from the Daily Word, but it says we are, well maybe it is. We are the expression of God flowing forth into our world. When we align with that higher self, we are the expression we are meant to be, and it just oozes out of us. It flows from us, from within us, from our awareness into our environment and affecting our life and the lives of others. And so I want to leave you with this affirmation, and I invite you to read today's daily word with I hope, a deeper understanding of how much is implied in this short little lesson from today. This is a very powerful message if we look at it and understand each of these elements that represent volumes of spiritual awareness. And so I leave you with this affirmation. I live in the flow of life, love, peace, and abundance. You are the flow of life. You are made in the essence of the divine. You are here to experience all of these blessings and to share them with others and with the world. So I invite you now to say this with me out loud together. I live in the flow of life, love, peace, and abundance. And we are grateful for that. God bless you.
Thank you, Virginia, for another powerful message. We are grateful for your prayers and financial support. Every donation makes a difference in many lives. Because of your giving, we have a weekly homeless outreach, a supportive prayer chaplain ministry, meaningful Sunday services, and classes in person and online. And because of your giving, we have the spacious, peaceful spiritual center. Thank you. On our website, www.unitynorthtampa.org, you can click on the donate button or find our mailing address for sending checks by mail. If you are with us in person today, please put your donations in one of the offering baskets by the sanctuary doors or in the foyer. Thank you so much. Please join me in declaring our abundance affirmation. I am divine love and infinite abundance. All that I am, have, give, and receive multiplies and blesses me and the world.
So I invite you to join me now as we bless all the offerings we have received, whether they have come in person, online, or by mail. We are grateful. And we give thanks to for the knowing that as we recognize how much we are blessed, we naturally want to give in return. And we naturally want to give where we are spiritually fed. We want to be a blessing in this world after we realize how much we have been blessed. And so we bless this offering, giving thanks for it, knowing that it is that recognition, that one and only source that blesses us constantly and abundantly. And we bless this offering to the will and the work of the Christ. And so it is. Amen.
Today, from 1 to 2 p.m., Reverend Virginia will play the crystal and Tibetan bowls for meditation and deep relaxation right here in the sanctuary at 1 p.m. Please see our May events in the calendar, which is in your bulletin. Details of these events are also on our website and in our weekly emails. Our Leadership Council President, Donna Stevens, has an announcement for us.
Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon. Okay, anyway. I'm here to talk about our second week starting, second week starting our 50-50 drawing. I mentioned it last week along with Penny. Penny's not here today, but it supports our ministry, so please consider giving for that. We'd really appreciate it. Tickets are $1 a piece, or you can get 6 tickets for $5, and you can get 25 tickets for $20. The ticket sales will end June 20th, and the drawing will be held June 27th. If you would like to donate, for those that are online watching this right now, you can donate by Venmo, you can donate by PayPal, you can mail in a check to us. Those that are here, we take cash, credit card, and checks. The information is on your brochures that are in the bulletin today. There's an extra one too if you'd like to give that away to anybody. I encourage you to, I have a bunch of these by the way, if you need more. I encourage you to take them to like your workplace, hand them out to your family and friends. It really is for a good cause. It helps our ministry grow here. Okay, thank you.
Vicki, do you have a transition update and inviting volunteers?
Yes, good morning. As you know, we're going to be looking at the book, Finding Yourself in Transition, and I don't know about you, but that's a continual state in my life. So I'm looking forward to reading the book and learning from it. And we are, as a community, in transition now. As Reverend Virginia is looking forward to her retirement, and we're blessing her in that endeavor as we wonder how we're going to find a replacement as good as she is. But the right and perfect person is out there waiting for us. So we're beginning that process. The Leadership Council will have a conversation with Doug Doerr, a minister at Unity Headquarters who helps congregations like ours who are looking for a new spiritual leader, and they have lots of experience in it. So Tuesday, the Leadership Council will meet with Doug, and then on Thursday, we're going to meet as a group to say, all right, let's get going on this transition. We need to have a search team, a transition team, and this is a time where all of us need to look at what can we do to help in that transition. We're asking for volunteers to step forward and let us know that you'll be willing to work with us and help us. We have someone that will be looking at, organizing the ushers again. Isn't that great? We need ushers again. And worship assistants. We'll have to talk about what are we going to do next, moving forward to getting back to our new normal. So transition is happening as we speak. We'll keep you posted as things progress on probably a weekly basis. And again, I encourage all of you to look at yourself and say, how can I help in this transition? And let me or any member of the Leadership Council know so that we can call on you to help us through this time together. It's a time when I think we can all become stronger by working together. Thank you.
So next week we will have a list of our volunteer opportunities, so you'll realize what team you might want to join. We also have some maintenance and grounds and youth ministry and publicity and social media and many other many ways. So we also like to fit the skills that you have to the team, and so we look forward to sharing that information with you too. And Vicki makes a very good point, because it will take all of us together to move through this gracefully and successfully. I'd just like to address for a moment this thought of fear about who the new minister might be. I want to tell you right now that I have spent 14 years helping us awaken to the power of our own creative thought. And I know that each of you who have been here for a while know that consciousness is everything, and that you have a wonderful consciousness. And the reason that I know that is when we have guest speakers and guest facilitators, they tell me what a fabulous group we have here. So I want you to know that the consciousness that you have is going to attract the perfect minister that will be the right fit for you, because that minister will resonate with your consciousness. And so that's why we want to stay in a place of faith and joyous anticipation about the new good coming to us. I want you to keep that in mind the entire time. And also, we're going to be doing the conscious transition class based on the book by Robert Brummett, Finding Yourself in Transition. And just as Vicki said, our lives are always in transition to some degree. And of course, this book deals mostly with the dramatic, the significant, the life-shifting transitions that we go through from time to time in life as a natural part of our lives. So I think you'll really like this book, not only for the ministry, but especially for yourself, about how you can be conscious about your transition so that it is more beneficial to you, and so that you move through it more successfully and more gracefully. And so when we do it personally, we then do it collectively, right? So I invite you to join the class. The books are available for sale. And then also, you'll see on your calendars, we are having some new member classes coming up. And we've had people requesting to become official members. And so we're having that opportunity also this month, or in May rather. So there's a lot coming up in May. And thank you all for your understanding and your support and for your presence here. We are so grateful for each one of you. So it's time for us to close with our peace song. I invite you to stand and remind you not to sing, but to hum and sway and get into that joy, claiming peace for ourselves and for our ministry and for our world. The light of God surrounds us. We are light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us. We are power. The presence of God watches over us. We are presence. Wherever we are, God is within us, and all is well. Amen.